All right, welcome back. We continue live right here on Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani with you on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, part of the Borders and Borders Hotline, 412-575-2600. Let's get right to it. A lot of people on there. Don in Mount Washington. Hello, Don. How are you?
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
Well,
I'd like to know your prediction on the Super Bowl, and I'm going with Philadelphia.
Well, I would love to see Philadelphia because they're from the state of Pennsylvania, number one. Don, I also would like to see them just because I'm tired of the same old script with New England. But you got to give them a lot of credit. What is that? 7 straight AFC championship games for them. For Brady, I believe it was 11 or 12 of those. In fact, the last time Philadelphia got there, they lost to guess who? Back in 2005. Yep, New England. And that was the Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens days. They just keep on keeping on, and that's what New England does. You got to give Brady a lot of credit too, regardless of this, injury situation. Some say it was exaggerated, whatever. He had a cut on his hand, and he still went out there, played tough. Got hit a lot, by the way. He really did. He took some shots, stood in there, made plays when he had to make plays. Jacksonville got far too conservative. As far as what I don't see New England losing. I just don't. Although it would be a great story to see Philadelphia come away with that win. Let's go to Ethan in Cranberry. Hey, Ethan, how are you?
Good, how are you, Bob?
Okay, thank you.
So today there was a catch with Danny Amendola, and it looked exactly like the Jesse James catch, but it was not in the end zone. So the ball rolled when he hit the ground. The ball was rolling.
But his hands were underneath, so
His hands were underneath?
Right. It was a catch. And quite frankly, the call on the field should have stood in the Jesse James thing. I've made that loud and clear, but nothing you can do about it. It was the same kind of situation. The call on the field should always take precedent. I will tell you this, however. I think Jacksonville got robbed on that Miles Jack interception, right? Or fumble recovery, because the whistle didn't have to blow. And if it didn't, if they allowed that play to go on, he had possession going the other way, it would have been 6 points. Now, instead, the call on the field stood. And again, I would prefer calls on the field standing unless it's 100% conclusive. That's fine with me, but they should have allowed that to go without blowing the whistle. So that was a big play in that game, too.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Let's go to line 4, and that would be Alex in the north side. Hey, Alex, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? I got a question for you here. Let's say Nick Foles goes out and he wins the Super Bowl. Let's say he plays well and keeps it competitive. I don't expect them to win, but let's say he does win. What does Philadelphia do next year? Do you sit a Super Bowl winning quarterback to start Carson Wentz?
Yes, you do. Wouldn't you?
No, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Even if we think.
They wouldn't even, you know what, though? They wouldn't even be in this position without Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz got them to where they had to go. He was the man leading this ship, and he had an outstanding season, by the way. Nick Foles is doing what he's supposed to do. He's a backup. He understands his role. I don't even think there'll be a question about that. All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate that, Alex. Let's go out to Linda in Harmony. Hello, Linda.
Hello, Bob. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, it was a good game today. Glad to see a PA team win.
Yeah, that wasn't a good game, but yes, I get what you're saying. It was not a very competitive game.
I have a quick question. How do they determine what stadium they play the Super Bowl in?
Oftentimes, is if you get a new stadium in your city, the NFL will reward you with an opportunity to host a Super Bowl, just like they did with New York. You might remember MetLife Stadium when it came to be. They had a Super Bowl outdoors in New York. Anytime you have one of those stadiums being built, you're going to probably get a Super Bowl at some point, and Minnesota was the latest in line to get that.
Well, I'm disappointed we never got one.
Got to build a new stadium, probably. I mean, I think it needs bigger capacity.
A few years ago.
Yeah. I don't know. I know Art Rooney has tried as much as he can. You know, I would love to see that, too, just for an economic hit more than anything else. It would help this area quite a bit, but who's to say? We'll see. Let's go to Pete in Moon. Hello, Pete. How are you?
Bob, how you doing? Good evening.
Good evening.
I got a question, or not a question, an observation. James Harrison really making an impact today for the Patriots.
He did on a couple of plays in the fourth quarter, yes.
Yeah, made an impact like when he threw a woman down the steps.
Let's go to Mike. Mike, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? How you guys doing?
Good, how are you? I got something stuck in my throat, but go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. Hopefully you get it out. Hey, 3 quick things for you. One, that caller talking about Carson Wentz sitting was pathetic. He's an idiot. Secondly, what did you think about Todd Haley getting hired by the Browns most likely? And third, do you think that under Keith Butler, the Steelers' defense and Steelers' D shrinks in big games?
You can make that argument, yes. I don't know if it's strategy. I don't know if it's player. It's probably both. You know, they put a lot of money into their defense, and they don't have that much to show for it, to be honest with you.
Dick LeBeau, the Steelers' D never shrunk.
It's going to be interesting to see what he does with Dick LeBeau down there, since he once played for him and has a lot of respect for him. But he's 80 years old, and I don't know if he's going to keep him on board. But I think you're right. I mean, when you look at the last 2 games, thanks for the call, man. Do appreciate that. AFC Championship last year in New England. This game against Jacksonville, you know, there were offensive plays that contributed to it, but by and large, it was the defense that could not stop the other team in waves. And this one was even worse, I think, because they had played them earlier in the season and they couldn't stop them then, and they got run over again. So that's 75 points in 2 games. Whatever the case, schematically, you're going to drop people into coverage. I'd rather go on the attack. If you have a 3-4 defense, you better come after people and get to them. They hardly touched Bortles. Same thing was true last year in New England where they hardly touched Brady. So, you know, you got to put pressure on quarterbacks. You saw the result of that when you did put pressure on Brady. He just falls down. He doesn't want to deal with that kind of rush. You have to do it. Let's go to Mike in Brownsville. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
All right, thank you.
Hey, I was just calling. I'm hoping Philadelphia wins, you know, to bring the trophy to Pennsylvania. And I think if New England wins, they might want to check them footballs again because didn't they have the deflated balls before?
It doesn't matter what's going on with them. They're winners. You know, you can look at the fact that they've been caught a couple of times, and cheating is part of what their history says. However, I'm never going to take anything away. The longer I watch Brady do what he does, I'm really in awe at age 40. You know, he called a quarterback sneak on a second or 3rd and 2 play, whatever it was 2 yards. He went right up and did it. He does it all the time. And a lot of people say that he doesn't get hit a lot. He does get hit a lot. Today he got hit a lot. He bounced back and played very well. I take nothing away from a guy like that. I think he deserves it. Ryan in the north side. What's up, Ryan? How you doing?
Hey, good. How you doing, Bob?
All right. What's going on?
I was going to try to ask the same question as the last guy. I was going to say, do you think the Patriots will be caught cheating in any way after this Super Bowl if they win?
No. I think that's a dead story. I do find this interesting, and I'm only pointing out because it is factual. Today, the penalty differential was this: 9 penalty calls against Jacksonville, 1 for New England. The last time a playoff team was called for just 1 penalty in a playoff game was New England back in 2011. So make what you want of that, but I'm throwing it out there just as factual information. Let's go out to Sam in Murraysville. Joins us right now on the Borders and Borders hotline of the Sports Call, provided by Ireland Contracting. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Bob. Thanks for taking the call. I just want to make a quick mention about James Harrison. I thought, you know, the 2 plays that he was in, he made a difference out there on the pass rush, getting the Bortles. I thought that was, you know, an interesting thing. I'm sure that there's nothing we could do about that, but hats off to
Well, they could have done something about that. They didn't have to just release him. And you knew that if there was one destination that was going to get him, Sam, it was going to be New England. That just made sense when it happened. But what didn't make sense was what was going on behind closed doors there with the alleged sleeping at practice, and nobody addressed it. That should have been taken care of. And then if you do have a problem, just deactivate him. They had deactivated him all season long. But to let him go, not that he made a difference. Don't get me wrong. James Harrison was not the reason they won today. But he did give them something that Pittsburgh could have used last week in large doses, and that is pressure from the edge part of their rush. They got none of it. And Bud Dupree has not played well in bigger games. Sorry, that's just the way it is. And they have a 4th-year option coming up. Or a 5th-year option. Do they do it or not? They're due in May, so we'll see how that goes. We got to take a break. Jim, Lou, and Bobby all coming up next. We're right here live on Pittsburgh CW.